Start a video.
Okay.
Unmute myself. I think we should be on. Hold on a sec. Where is, there we are. Hi.
Hello.
I'm waving. Can you hear us? Let me type here. Sound check. Okay, well, I'm going to start talking. I think somebody will let us know if you can't hear us. So before we get started, I want to go over a little bit of housekeeping and then we're going to introduce ourselves, okay? So congratulations on making the time today to join us for this webinar. You received an invitation to this webinar because as a result of your spring quarter grades or unit progress, you have entered the academic probation process. Before we dive into our content for today, we hope that this webinar will help you gain understanding of your academic standing, but it is not intended to replace advising in person with the dean's office or with your major advisor. A few housekeeping items, like I said, this Zoom webinar platform has 3 features that I would like to point out. Makes me feel like a flight attendant. I'm going to point out 3 features. The Q&A function, you'll notice, look around, there's a toolbar menu there. There's a Q&A question and answer function. Use that to ask questions. You can also choose to ask questions anonymously using that function. Also, there is a chat function. You should have received a couple of messages prior to us starting where I said, we're going to start in 2 minutes and welcome. So that chat function, if you send messages on that chat function, it will only come to us, the panelists. It will not go to the attendees. So you can't chat with each other, okay? And then you might notice there's a raise hand function. We're not going to use it. So don't raise your hand because we don't want to feel like you're getting ignored. We're just not going to use it. So if I see a hand go up, I'll remind you that we're not using that function. But I just don't want you to use it and be waiting for somebody to acknowledge that. The content today should take us about 30 to 40 minutes and we will save time at the end to answer questions as well. We will be using a couple of anonymous surveys along the way to discuss our topic, and we encourage you to participate for the benefit of the group and the discussion. This webinar is being recorded and will be available online later on the college website. In the meantime, I would encourage you to have a pen and paper handy to take some notes for yourself. Okay, so before we get started with the content, let's introduce ourselves.
Click.
Click? Oh, sorry.
Next slide.
Next slide. So you don't have to be perfect.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Julie Zeck, and I am an academic advisor in the dean's office. My slide is the one on the very left. So as you can see, just these pictures represent me a little bit. I am a UC Davis alumni. I'm also an alumni of our college. My undergraduate degree is in clinical nutrition. I'm originally from Southern California and really love the beach. I miss the beach, especially in this weather. I wish we had some water nearby. But I also enjoy hiking and playing sports like volleyball.
And I'm represented by the images in the middle of this slide. I'm a Chico State graduate. Go Wildcats. I majored in health science, which is similar to our human development in our college. I'm originally from Southern California in the San Diego area. I lived in Oakland for a brief moment, and I spend my time with our 2 cats, my 5-year-old, almost 6-year-old, and my partner of 20 plus years. And we're gonna have somebody run in here really quickly who is joining us today.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brad Horton. I'm one of the academic advisors here in the dean's office. A little bit about me. I'm originally from Chicago, and I went to school at Northwestern and studied economics. I also played the trombone and rugby there.
Oh, we didn't know that.
And I spent a fair amount of time in Japan before making my way to Davis. I've been here in the dean's office now for about 5 years. And when I'm not in the dean's office doing work and advising you all, I like being outdoors and listening to music and going to the Mandavi Center. So welcome, and I will be answering all of your questions in the Q&A function.
So Brad's going to be off screen, and in fact, I'm going to turn off the camera right now.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you.
Can you close the door, Brad? So Brad's going to be off screen in his office answering questions in the Q&A function. And so we're going to turn off the video right now, so don't be alarmed as our lovely faces go away. You should still continue to hear the audio just so that you can focus on the content for today, okay? All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So, surprise, surprise, it's summertime. Our office sent out notifications this afternoon regarding your academic status. So again, you know, super high five for all of you that signed up immediately. That was great. The messaging from our office has asked you to take some action for advising since you have entered the process of academic probation. I had a question earlier today if you needed to attend both webinars, and both webinars are going to be the same content. We may have different people on staff doing the webinars, but you do not need to attend both webinars. Some of you may have had a conversation with the dean's office or your major advisor prior to the end of spring quarter to discuss your academic progress and plans for the summer. Some of you may have even started to use or explore campus resources to support your future success. For those of you that have already taken some action, great job. For those of you that haven't taken action just yet, we hope attending today's webinar will help start these discussions and initiate your exploration of campus resources so that you can take action to support your return to good academic standing. Some of you have already, I said that twice. Wait, okay. So for those of you that have already decided to make these changes to support your academic success, we hope that you will hear confirmation during this presentation today of the great things you are already doing and maybe get some additional tools to help support you. Lastly, we hope that after the webinar, this will prompt you to check in with the dean's office if you have not already done so. Even if you've already talked with your major advisor, it's important to also connect with our office. We would like to discuss your summer and fall plans so that you can get back into good standing as soon as possible. So let's talk about our goals for today. By the end of today, you should be able to meet these goals. In different parts of the presentation, we will have short polls, and again, those responses are going to be anonymous. You'll remember to use your question and answer function, your Q&A function, to ask questions. And you'll also notice Brad may be posting things in the webinar chat from time to time. And although we might not answer your question right away, because we might know that we're going to cover it in a future slide, we will make sure to cover all the questions by the end of the presentation.
Alrighty, so we want to check your basic knowledge about academic probation. Please respond quickly to the poll that will appear on your screen. During our presentation, we'll have a few polls about various topics. Your responses will not be attached to your name. Alrighty, so here's the first poll. A student is on academic probation on the basis of GPA when the quarter and/or cumulative UC grade point average, or GPA, is A, below 1.5 GPA, B, below 2.0 but above a 1.5 GPA, or C, below a 2.0 GPA.
I'm just going to give you a couple seconds to finish up. Looks like we've almost got everybody to vote. I'm going to go ahead and, oh, one more person got in just before I closed it. So I'm going to go ahead and close the poll. So I'm going to share the results here. And the answer is?
Answer is B. So the academic probation is defined on having a GPA below a 2.0 but above a 1.5.
So split, kind of. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay, so late breaking news. There have been some changes to minimum progress. So we want you to know that this regulation has recently changed. These changes do not affect your current standing, but they may impact your unit plans for summer and fall. We strongly suggest you discuss your situation with the dean's office.
Anything else we want to say about that? I would say just ask questions.
Yeah, essentially you may have heard that number 13 for minimum progress, averaging 13 units per quarter. The average is now going to be 12 units per quarter. And so what that means is that students that are full-time should be averaging at least 12 units during their full-time quarters.
And we'll mention it a couple more times during today's presentation. So again, this is something that's brand new, literally hot off the presses. Those of you on this webinar, you're getting it probably one of the first few people on this campus to know. So good reason to be here. So let's talk about the different types of academic probation. There is probation for a single quarter when you're not meeting the academic requirements for grades or for units. There's probation continued when you have 2 consecutive quarters on probation. And then there's subject to dismissal, which is 3 consecutive quarters on probation. There's other reasons why you may fall into subject to dismissal status. You'll also hear people refer to it as subject to disqualification status. We urge you in our college to come in and talk to us if you are concerned about any of these stages, about anything we talk about in today's webinar, to help you get back into good academic status before you get into a situation where you're facing subject to dismissal as being part of this process. If your UC GPA is below a 2.0 right now, it's important for you to talk with the Dean's office about what may need to happen between summer and fall. Be aware also that only UC grades impact your UC GPA, and you can see your UC GPA in OASIS by selecting your classes that were completed at a UC. If you're planning to repeat or are currently repeating any D or F grades, you should discuss with an advisor the impact of repeating a class on your UC GPA. It is typically best to repeat UC courses with UC courses. If you're attempting a repeat at a community college, be sure to talk with an advisor as soon as possible. So what is minimum progress? Again, this is something that's new, effective fall 2018, that the university is going to ask students to be completing a 12 units average per full-time quarter. See the Dean's office for what counts for minimum progress, especially as we're going through this change process. Come in and talk with us about strategies to meet minimum progress and how you can use summer school to meet this requirement. Some students may qualify for waivers through the Student Disability Center. Please consult with their office if that's something that you would like to continue or initiate in their office. And if you are approved for a waiver or you are approved for part-time status through the Office of the University Registrar, those quarters do not count for minimum progress. Again, this can get sometimes a little bit complicated, but we just want to make sure that we can simplify that for you by you coming to the source and coming to the Dean's office. We will help you through it.
Alrighty, so we want to talk a little bit about academic probation and academic challenges. We know that when you came to UC Davis, you had expectations of doing well, and sometimes unexpected challenges or situations that are outside of your control can occur. The transition to UC Davis can sometimes be harder than anticipated. UC Davis is a large university and the quarter system is very fast-paced. It's not uncommon to feel behind or unsure of where to go for help. Anything from study habits, personal, family issues arise, your financial situation changes, or you become ill or injured can have impact on your academic performance. Here are a couple common reasons for students that have faced academic difficulty. So you can see a lot on here. There are a lot of the common things that we hear, but there may be other ones as well. Perhaps by now you have begun to reflect on your academics and challenges of this last academic year. Now is the time to adopt new habits to support a successful summer and fall quarter. Alrighty, we're gonna do another poll. Yay! So the question is, what was the main contributing factor that affected your grades? And so kind of look through that and take the next few seconds to choose what you feel like was the biggest impact.
And remember, as you saw in the last poll, these are anonymous, so you don't have to worry about them being tied to your participation in today. This is just a good opportunity for you to see that there's so many different things that can be affecting academic progress. Okay, got almost everybody's vote. Oh, now we're 100%. Okay, we're gonna end the polling and here are the results.
So there's a lot of different things. So class schedule looks like that is a main contributing factor, but there was also some family challenges, having to work, health issues, time management, which is a really common one too. We also know that it can be multiple things, and so sometimes it's prioritizing what we can focus on in order to improve in the future.
Great.
Thanks for participating. So how do I return to good standing? So our goal for everybody, all students, is to get back to good academic standing. Essentially, to be back in good academic standing, your quarter and overall UC GPA both need to be a 2.0 or higher. And this is during all academic terms, so fall, winter, and spring. So summer is a great supplement, but summer itself will not actually change your academic standing. Academic standing after right now won't change until after fall quarter, so in January. So to return to good academic standing, you must complete the quarter with C average grades and have a 12-unit degree progress average during your full-time quarter at the end of fall. We know you can get through this process of academic probation and return to good academic standing. There are a variety of campus resources to help support you. It's important to seek advising so you know your options. We talked about the factors that may have impacted your classes. Consider any changes or things you may need to address and make a plan of action to help you reach your academic and personal goals. Remember, you are not alone. There are many resources and advising options to help. Be aware that while you are not in good academic standing, you are unable to change your major or change a letter graded class to a pass no pass option on Schedule Builder. If a class is only offered in pass no pass grading, then you can take those classes, such as a PE class. So you are able to take classes that are only offered in pass no pass option, but you cannot change your grading option to pass no pass while not in good academic standing. If at any time you start to struggle in your classes or life stuff happens that starts to affect your academic progress, seek advising from the dean's office to explore options for the quarter. So this is particularly important to start thinking about fall quarter, which seems like a far away time, but it will be here in no time. But if you feel yourself starting to struggle, we want to make sure that you come into our office to talk about it, so that we can talk about what your options are and what things we should focus on. And really just to be help you strategize with those priorities. Many students may experience academic probation at some point in their academic experience, and we're here really to help you support through that process.
You know, in the message that you received earlier today, you did receive two. One was for this webinar invitation, and the one before that was about the academic probation process. I want to call to your attention one of the links on there that will connect you to some student stories about being in the academic probation process and how those students were able to move through that process back to good academic standing. So hopefully you can revisit that. So as Julie mentioned, and as I'm sure many of you have heard already, there are a variety of campus resources to help and support you while you are here at UC Davis. If you haven't already done so, start exploring campus resources. Even in the summertime, these locations are open. Some may have regular hours and some may have somewhat shortened hours in the summertime, just depending on what kind of service they provide. So we encourage you to explore this even during the summer. It's a great time to get connected. Start familiarizing yourself with their services, stop by their office to know where they are located, and take the time to ask their staff questions, or maybe even the students that work in there about their resources. They are all here to support you academically and personally. So I want to just name a few. The Student Academic Success Center offers both tutoring and workshops even during the summer. And I think Brad will share a link in the webinar chat for some of the tutoring resources available. There are some limited appointments for one-on-one success coaching, and there is also some offerings of study skills workshops that are also available on the Student Academic Success Center website. There's actually 3 workshops that are scheduled for this summer for study skills. And in addition, the Advising and Retention Services has programs like First Year Aggie Connections, the Educational Opportunity Program. They actually have their the EOP Cottage over there, Guardian Scholars Program, Transfer and Reentry Center, Veteran Success Center, and much, much more. Take a look at their website to see what communities you may be able to affiliate it with. The Student Health and Counseling Resources, counseling services, food and nutrition support, medical services, and wellness programs. I just noticed the other day walking through the Memorial Union that there is a CalFresh help desk in the Memorial Union at the Aggie Compass location, where maybe some of you might not have been on campus this long, but where the old post office used to be, but the corral, the student store is over there. So maybe stop by if you think that food and nutrition support is something that you might need assistance with, which can also help with your budget if you qualify. Here in the Dean's office, we also have satellite resources for counseling. We have Annie Hahn that splits her time between us and the College of Biological Sciences to offer counseling support resources in a short therapy, one-on-one counseling program. There's also the Community Advising Network. You can Google that or look that up on the counseling services. And then there's also a variety of mental health resources. You can even download or listen to some podcasts of meditation and things like that on their website. So last listed here, but certainly not least, is the abundance of student community center resources all over the campus. I do want to mention there are also some of our other campus community resources, such as the affectionately called El Centro, the Chicanx Latinx Resource Center above the Memorial Union. There's a lot of resource centers on campus, the AB 540 and Undocumented Resource Center, the Cross Cultural Center. You see them listed here. The other 2 that are not located in the Student Community Center are Services for International Students and Scholars and the Women's Research and Retention Center. Remember, you may not need to identify with one particular community personally to be a part of that community. So I've known many students that might be using a specific community resource center, but not, perhaps visibly or, affiliate themselves traditionally with that community. So they're welcome to anybody. So to go on with some of the advising resources on campus, and hopefully these are providing some things that you can jot down as resources for you to look into this summer or in the fall, giving folks a call or visiting their website. There are many campus resources to help you academically. You can see your intended major advisor. So if you're thinking about changing your major or you're exploring majors and minors, you can seek advising out of the specific major you're declared in. Many departments also have peer advisors. Some of them are still around in the summertime. So peer advisors can help you with schedule planning, class selection, finding resources and referrals on campus. You can come to the dean's office if you have any questions specifically about your college or university requirements, of course, about your academic standing, exploring, major direction, maybe discussing an academic or personal situation if you're not sure where else to go. If you're exploring different majors, you can look on the UC Davis homepage for something called a major card sort. It's a great online exploration tool. And if the other things listed here, the Undergraduate Research Center and the Health Professions Advising is a great way to kind of think about working your way backwards, as well as the Pre-Graduate School Advising, working your way backwards for your next steps of what you want to do. How can you participate in things as an undergraduate in order to accomplish that long-term goal? Anything you want to add here?
Utilize resources, get out there and try them. Yeah. Okay, so what should I consider moving forward? Hindsight is 2020. Reflect back on the quarter and any challenges you faced. What could have helped you have a different academic situation? Examples could be use academic services, change of study space, participate in study groups, better balance of work and school, balanced course load, take less units, less social or extracurricular activities, etc. There are so many things here at UC Davis to help you. Even all these options can be overwhelming to sort through. Come in and chat with us to review the available resources as it pertains to your individual situation.
Oh, another poll.
Okay, so we're gonna do a poll, and so now this is kind of where we're gonna start planning. So what's one thing that you choose to explore or do differently? So take a look at the options here and kind of sort through what you feel like you would like to make a change on.
And some of these things we might not have covered intensively so far, so we'll see what everybody is already thinking about in order to help them be successful in the future.
And as you make the decision, think about how you will ensure you will use this resource. So consider creating a manageable action plan to help you with the resources you selected.
Okay, looks like almost everybody's made a decision for one resource or thing to explore or do differently coming up. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the poll and to share the results.
So it looks like that balance of school, work, socialize, family, that is definitely a really tough one. So that goes along with the time management skills and trying to figure out, what's the best way to balance all the things that you have going on as a college student, which can be a lot.
Mm-hmm. And I noticed that nobody picked office hours with professors or TAs, and using student community center resources and seek advising about course selection. So these are also really relevant topics that you may want to look into. I'm surprised sometimes by the number of students that tell me that they ended up with a particular grade, but they don't know why. That is a great way to reconnect with your faculty member from that particular class and find out what went wrong and how could you have made the quarter go better. In reflection, sometimes having those conversations can help you facilitate those conversations in the future. And the Student Community Center resources, I listed off a bunch that are in that particular center, but really I want to impart on you to create community around you because it's important to feel like you are a part of the campus. We hope that you will perhaps explore that. I know you could only choose one, so maybe that was like a high second. Okay.
Okay, so academic probation. I know that hearing those words, academic probation, can sound really scary and really overwhelming, but we really want to reframe that as it's an opportunity to reach your goals. So this can be your wake-up call for change and improvement. Think about framing your situation positively and don't stay in the past. What's done is done. We're not disappointed in you. We just want you to take the time to reflect, and as long as you make the improvement going forward, then we're very happy. We hope you now have a better understanding of how you came to be on academic probation, what challenges you face, and what you could do differently. This is your opportunity to help yourself to return to good academic standing and be the successful student that you know that you are. You have a partnership in advising and community resources to support your success, and hopefully you're able to learn more about those today.
So you've had time to think about what happened in the spring quarter and what challenges you may have faced. It's time to think about what you can do moving forward. Create an action plan and community to partner with to support you with this plan. Although it may be uncomfortable at first to discuss your personal and academic challenges, remember that we are all partners with you and we are all here to help you succeed. And if you have been trying to resolve this on your own, now is the time to seek support. Allow us to connect you with resources and advising. We hear lots of things from students as to why they never came in for advising. Some students are worried about bothering advisors. Some students just want to do it on their own as a sign of independence. And some students may have a sense of shame or feel like they're letting their family or themselves down. I am a first-generation college student, a graduate, and I know how difficult it is to navigate the university. I also know how difficult it can be to ask for support given familiar and cultural expectations. However, please know that you asking for advice is not an inconvenience to us. This is what we are here for. We want to help you through this process to achieve your academic success. Students don't set out planning to end up in academic difficulty, and we know that despite this brief stumble, you belong here and you can succeed. You earned your admission to UC Davis, and we want to help support you be successful in your goals. So now that you've developed an action plan or started to think about it, be sure to write it down. So as we mentioned before, advising is a partnership. I encourage you to start to get to know the people, the staff, the faculty, and peer advisors that work in the campus resources we mentioned. You may find an unlikely hero or shero that will be able to help you explore balance and develop tools for academic success. Positioning yourself for your future success is a partnership by actively and honestly reflecting and evaluating your own experiences, and then sharing and collaborating with your major, the dean's office, and campus resources.
Okay, so we're getting close to finishing up. We want to see what you all have learned. So we're going to pull up a new poll. And so this is basically asking that same question from the first slide. So what is qualitative academic probation? Students on academic probation for qualitative reasons when quarter and or cumulative UC GPA is A, B, or C. It looks like people are already voting.
Yay, 100%. Okay.
So we'll end the poll, we'll share the results. So 100% got this correct. So your GPA was below a 2.0 but above a 1.5. So that's really exciting that we all learned this today.
Good.
And so just a reminder about minimum progress again, we really want you to come in to see the dean's office. Bottom line is that you need to be averaging 12 units passing per quarter during all of full-time quarters. These are very, very recent changes. You probably won't see these changes even posted online or anywhere. So if you have questions, you have to come in and actually see us in our office. And we can help you talk about your individual situation, because a lot of times it involves some math that we have to do with your number of units and number of terms you've been active. So we're here to help you with that.
And just so you know, because there is math involved, speaking for myself, I sometimes have a hard time doing math over the phone with folks. I have, and this might be on a case-by-case basis, but I have done some Zoom appointments with students to be able to share the screen. But certainly if you're not in the area during the summer and you have questions, we will initiate that we'll start that conversation over the phone. But sometimes we get to a point where we may have to say, let's get together in person and see if we can work out the math together. So speaking of being in person, summer sessions, a lot of students do on-campus summer sessions here at Davis. I'm just curious, how many of you are actually in town? You can say on the webinar chat, what city are you in right now? I'm just curious. So in the webinar chat, if you can type in, what city are you sitting in right now? What are you doing? Once I get some responses, I'll let you all know where you are all at. So there's a few of you that are still around campus, Vacaville, Seattle, Davis. Well, hello, Seattle, Davis.
Wow.
Okay, so I'm glad that, we have this opportunity to do the webinar. So the reason why I'm asking is because there are some online classes available to students through the UC, but also even through UC Davis. So take a look at our summer ucdavis.edu. They are 6-week sessions. And then if you are interested in exploring more online options, please discuss that with us in your advising appointment. There's many online options as well. But like I said, there's 6 weeks. So if you are not already enrolled in summer session 1, we highly caution you from adding a class, even at this point in the quarter, because you would have missed almost, a whole week of just 6 weeks. If you are not attending UC Davis and you are attending someplace else, please talk with your major or the dean's office about how you plan on using that transfer credit towards major or college and university requirements. Uh-oh. Oh, Brad said, we can't see or hear you, but I thought she couldn't see or hear us. I was like, what? But yeah, it's just for the students, we can't see or hear you.
Yes.
Okay.
Alrighty, so we are at the end of our webinar, and so if you have questions, that is our location on the screen. So we are in Marac Hall, first floor. We do have a general advising inbox, the CAES advising at ucdavis.edu, that is checked by an advisor daily. So if you have questions and you would like to send an email, you may do that. Just know that sometimes the advisor will email you back and encourage you to actually make an appointment, because sometimes conversations and advising can get a little challenging over email. But we also have a phone number that you can call that advisors you can be connected to an advisor. And our website is in the process of being revamped, so there are some new web pages on our website there. We have drop-in hours during July, so that's starting I guess it's starting now. Through July, our drop-in hours are 10 a.m. to 11:30 and 1:30 to 3 p.m. Our normal drop-in hours during the academic year and for the rest of the summer are 9 a.m. to noon and 1:30 to 4 p.m. So we have pretty good hours. You are always welcome to just stop in to our office and talk with us. That's usually the best way to get on-demand information from us. So yeah, we really encourage you to come by if you still have questions. We'd love to talk with you a little bit more about your individual situation.
Yeah, so I don't see any questions coming in. I know Brad has fielded a couple offline, but they were things that we talked about, just to keep to our word that we were going to make sure that we covered all the information. So
if there are questions, you may put it in the Q&A right now if you want.
We stayed on target for time today.
Yeah, we're pretty good.
5:10 to 5:40 was when we ended our content. I don't see any questions. Are you thinking?
And we're here all summer, so we get questions a lot of the times of whether or not we are on summer vacation, and we don't get vacation. We're always here. So there's a few summer holidays, like the 4th of July, the campus is closed. But other than that, we are here and working and really want to talk with students. And we know that summer is a really good time to start getting the plan together for the next academic year. So definitely come by.
And I noticed a lot of you were in Davis. So yeah, certainly come by. I saw our peer advisors are here. During the summer, I saw them working on GE checks today with quite a few students. It's a good time to just kind of clean things up. And, if there's less people on campus, it might also be a great time to get us affiliated with like the success coaching and things like that on campus. So, okay, well, I don't see any questions coming in. I'm going to put the video back on us. Hello. Just for us to say goodbye, I want to say thank you to Brad for staffing our Q&A and our chat over there. So thanks, Brad. We've gotten a couple of thank yous on the chat as well. And so Brad did send out those links that are available to you. Hopefully you grab those and put them away, or you're doing it right now as I'm talking, that you grab those links for the drop-in, what was it called? Drop-in tutoring. There's drop-in tutoring. And I was visiting that website today, and thank you again, Brad, for repasting that. I would suggest grabbing that link because it took me a couple of clicks to get to it, and it might be useful for you to be able to see that. So there are some workshops as well as drop-in tutoring. I think the workshops were for chemistry and one other subject, and then drop-in, they have a variety of different subjects in there. And then the success coaching and the study skills workshops link as well.
All righty.
All
well,
right.
Thank you for spending the last half an hour or so with us. We really appreciate it during your summer.
Yeah. Have a great one. Stay cool this weekend.
Yes.
And remember to hydrate.
That's right.
Bye, everybody.
All right, bye.